on this day, the 28th of June 2024, that I, on behalf of the participants here and on behalf of the Uganda Human Rights Commission, launch this handbook, which has been developed through the project of Sensitise Uganda in collaboration with the Uganda Human Rights Commission, Oxfam, Voice, and many other stakeholders. So the book is launched. On behalf of the Uganda Human Rights Commission, I welcome you and thank you, all our dear partners and stakeholders, for gracing this occasion when our partnership registers yet another milestone in human rights promotion. I take this moment to thank Sensitise Uganda, our partner in this project, for organizing the launch of the Civic Education Handbook for secondary schools. We at the Uganda Human Rights Commission are grateful for the partnership and good working relationship we have nurtured in promoting civic engagement and supporting democratic and participatory good governance for Ugandans to become responsible and active citizens. We therefore developed this Civic Education Handbook for secondary schools in Uganda, which we launched today in response to this gap. This handbook is a resource to bridge the knowledge gap in the nurturing of young people into responsible and active citizens. It highlights critical elements for encouraging the participation of young people in civic processes. The handbook covers civic rights and responsibilities, citizenship and citizen participation, participation in electoral processes, patriotism and voluntarism, leadership and good governance, peace building and conflict resolution, and gives insight of the political journey of Uganda. We urge all of you present here to make use of this resource in your engagements with secondary school students, and also to refer the same and share it with other stakeholders. Going forward, from what has been spoken here, there is a clarion call to government from all of us to reintroduce civic education in schools. And I can commit from the Uganda Human Rights Commission that we shall engage the Ministry of Education and Sports, including their specialized agency, the National Curriculum Development Center, to commence discussions, conversations geared towards reintroducing civic education in schools.
Sensitise Uganda is a non-partisan civil society organization that is registered with the government of the Republic of Uganda, that works to contribute towards efforts of promoting participatory democracy and good governance in Uganda. And our mission is to raise awareness, to sensitize, to build the capacity of all Ugandans on social, economic, and political challenges through implementing projects and programs in order to raise the livelihood of Ugandans, but also to contribute meaningfully to the development process of our country. With support from Voice for the past 5 years, we have been delivering interventions around civic education in secondary schools with different innovative approaches like mock elections, debating competitions, article writing competitions, among others. Along the way, we noticed a civic knowledge gap among the students which needed to be addressed. And to address this gap, we decided to develop a civic education handbook for secondary school students in Uganda. This civic education handbook for secondary school students in Uganda is a resource that is supposed to bridge this gap of civic knowledge in nurturing young people into more responsible and active citizens. I want to thank the team of our different consultants that developed, reviewed, edited, illustrated, and designed this civic education handbook. I once again want to thank the Uganda Human Rights Commission and other government agencies like the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance, and many other partners and individuals for the guidance and insights you provided during the development of this handbook. This handbook highlights very critical elements aimed at encouraging the participation of young people in civic processes. It has 9 sections, and one of the sections is on civic rights and responsibilities. The other one is citizenship and citizen participation. Participation, which includes participation in electoral processes. The other one is patriotism and volunteerism, understanding leadership, understanding good governance, peace building, and conflict resolution. But also the handbook provides a deep dive into Uganda's political journey, among other so many interesting topical areas. For young people to grow up as active and responsible citizens, and therefore as leaders, systematic and continuous civic education is a must. Civic education is more important than ever before in our society today. The basics of civic education help young people, especially the students, understand their rights, their responsibilities, as well as understand how they are supposed to relate as citizens, but also allows them to engage effectively in democratic processes. I want, therefore, to take this opportunity to empower you, the different civil society organizations here, the development partners, the different government agencies here, and everyone in their individual capacities, to think about how we can plan and deliver civic education to young people, especially those in secondary schools.
The title is really great. My country, my rights, and responsibility. You cannot demand for a right without delivering on your responsibility. That is something I learned when I was still young. And I'm hoping that, therefore, we will maximize the opportunity we have this morning and use it to remind ourselves of the history that we have had and forge the future that we all wish. If you found the time to read this book, read it. Because I think it will open a lot of valves in our brain. It will open our brains, it will challenge us, but above all, I think it will shape the way us older people will engage with the young people, but also for the young people, it will prepare them to be better leaders tomorrow. I will not do it justice if I left without appreciating, again, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Netherlands for their very generous support for all these years that we have enjoyed through the Voice Project, and to all the participants and partners in the Voice Projects who are in the House. Let's continue to maintain the solidarity and the work that we have had and enjoyed over the many years. I want to take this opportunity once again to extend deep appreciation to Uganda Human Rights Commission and Sensitise Uganda for their collaboration and partnership that has led to the meeting that has gathered us this morning. I really want to invite all of us to give them a big round of applause. Whilst this particular project is coming to an end, the gains that we have registered from the project continues. And I really, really want to take this opportunity, my brother Crispin and your team, to appreciate you for thinking about young people.
For a country to make meaning, we need informed citizens. Young people who understand their rights and responsibilities as citizens advocate for themselves and for others. They promote a culture of respect, human rights, and rule of law. Decision-making becomes very important, and they become more equipped as decision makers. Whether in the voting booth, in public discourse like we are here, or in their personal lives. In Uganda, as we go towards 2026, we still have people who are given 2,000 shillings and they vote somebody to go to parliament, to go and appropriate a budget of 70 trillion. And the results, I think, ladies and gentlemen, you know what's happening. We need to see more critical thinkers. We need to have more citizens who make decisions while knowing the consequences of those decisions. With the civic education, we believe that we shall have more young people able to engage in political discussions and participate in civic activities, thereby strengthening democratic fabric of society. Educated citizens can hold their leaders accountable, demanding transparency and good governance, and this can lead to a reduction in corruption and the promotion of more ethical governance practices. I invite you all to move along with me to meditate upon the thinking, do we need civic education for our young people?
If we engage in civic education and we see that the government is putting so much in it, teaching the students, because the students don't know about it, this is a seed being planted that will blossom one day. Remember, the youth today is our nation tomorrow. So when we leave it behind, because we know that the elders know, but the students don't. And in case I just speak for the rest of the schools, when you look in Chira, civic education has just been adopted because of the Voice and Sensitise project. And I think we have also gaps in the state also. Students don't even know what is taking place in the events of the country. They don't know the key issues that are happening in Uganda today. So that means civic education is nowhere as we speak. Our school is blessed because Sensitise came in with Voice to impact on us. But as per that, our school knows not. The other schools, I don't think if they know anything about civic education. Thank you.
Here there are patriotism clubs in schools, right? Do you have one in Chira?
We just had participations or patriotism, but we don't have a club of patriotism in Chira.
The government has really tried to introduce patriotic clubs in schools, in institutions of learning, in higher institutions. But again, these clubs are unheard of. They are introduced within the schools, but we don't know what actually happens to these clubs. We really want to engage in such clubs, we want to learn more about civics education, but again, they introduce and nobody even cares about the journey of these clubs. And that's one of the gaps I would actually say.
In schools right now, you're not given chance to talk, to hear what children say. You don't have that chance. What the teacher says, the HM, those are the rules you have to follow. How he said important to me. Teach me about the people in the current government, to know more about the current government. But you are teaching me the people of long ago. How will I get to know about that? Teach me the current world, to be in the current world, to be in the current generation. So we are lagging behind.
What is very difficult for us as a country to begin to see how important civics is to the growth and development of this country. The challenges we are having at parliamentary level, it is something that is nurtured because democracy is a culture, it's a practice. So whatever you cannot nurture, whatever you cannot practice is not going to be automatic. So whatever we are suffering right now as a country is because we have retrogressed certain important things, and one of those is civics. Where are these young people going to learn democratic practice? if, first of all, the theory is not extended to them, but also where the practice that ought to be as a nurturance from our leaders is not what is maintained.
But I'm not hearing anyone talking about civic education in those local levels, like outside the schools and institutions. So how about you've forgotten about those people who went out of schools? So what are you going to do for those people? They also want to raise their voices, but they don't have the ability.
Have we internalized our national vision so that now we put intellectual labor and every infrastructure labor to desire to move towards the national vision? I feel when that is unpacked and the young person grows when he or she knows where the country must be, it will build them better. Then they know that to get there, you must build democratic institutions. Democracy that delivers the good for everybody. Very critical civic education from infant level. But then what drives that? Yet now Uganda is a country full of plenty, well endowed in terms of resources, where people can produce and make ends meet, but people are leaving. People are selling their lands. And then they are buying border and going to other kind of businesses. There's a problem. And I think civic education is one of the tonic to the problem of Uganda, which we must address properly. So how should it be purposed? It should be motivational, they have said it, and look at the ingredients of motivating the young people. It should be creating a character which is law-abiding. Friends, civic education is not a given. It must be developed purposefully, directed. So we need to develop a robust civic education program that touches everybody from the homesteads to the national level. So I think let us all get together and use all means available to us to ensure that we get the critical, purposed, necessary civic education that can answer the problem for Uganda.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Stop there. So the question I'm saying that with the civic education, you should at least know what is in the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda. At least one article. If you do not know them, the person responsible is around. That's the Uganda Human Rights Commission. It's their constitutional mandate to ensure that all Ugandans have that knowledge. I should also tell you that currently the lower secondary school curriculum was reviewed. There's going to be new assessment. But we have a window for the primary school curriculum to be reviewed. So are we going to see Uganda Human Rights Commission, Sensitise Uganda, and all actors in CSOs presenting a paper to NCDC to bring back civics? So civics should be brought back without discussion. But that said, again, the new curriculum, our sons and daughters, you know the activity of integration. You know the projects that you are getting from the problems that are in the community. I should say civic education has no negotiation. We should ask the Uganda Human Rights Commission to teach us about the Constitution. To teach us about the Constitution, to teach us about the Constitution. We deserve better. I thank you.
Civic education must be deliberate. It must be a conscious effort to do it. It doesn't come automatically. And from the experience of the Uganda Human Rights Commission, we have been to schools. We have a program of human rights and peace clubs in schools. In fact, before we get into a school, there is a bit of resistance from the authorities. They think that you are going to make their students stubborn, you are going to cause strikes, you are going to disorganize the discipline until we engage with them, until the club starts. And then they start appreciating how the clubs actually reinforce discipline in the school. So it is not surprising that this is a table of people who have gone through this process of consciously empowering our young people to become the leaders of tomorrow, to become the future of our country. So that is important. So we really need to keep doing these activities. We have to keep supporting these activities. We take responsibility as Uganda Human Rights Commission for the mandate of civic education, but the same constitution also says that it's the responsibility of each and every citizen of Uganda to know what is in the constitution and also to go by the constitution. So it's a collective responsibility. Civic education is a collective responsibility of every individual, of government and non-state actors. Civic education must be continuous because we realized that if this civic education does not become continuous, we shall have problems of what we experienced in Arua. So the young people who are saying that they must be taught about today, I agree with them, but we need to know everything that happened until we are here. We need to know how our past influences our present. We need to know how our present can improve what was in our past. How can we exploit technology? How can my grandson get civic education from cartoons that are tailor-made for civic education? Technology is here. Some of us who are dinosaurs, it scares us. But these young people are always on smartphones. They get a lot more information from here. How can we take advantage of this?